U.S. First on 5, the U.S. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia has died at the age of 79. Scalia was nominated in 1986 and was the longest-serving justice on the court. Consequently, the death of Scalia could start a political firestorm in Washington. President Obama has constitutional authority to nominate the next justice, but conservative opponents say the president should wait and allow his successor to pick an appointee. But in a press conference tonight, the president said that wouldn't be the case.
Obviously, today is a time to remember Justice Scalia's legacy. I plan to fulfill my constitutional responsibilities to nominate a successor in due time. There will be plenty of time for me to do so and for the Senate to fulfill its responsibility to give that person a fair hearing and a timely vote.
The GOP could face a backlash from grassroots conservatives if an Obama nominee is allowed to go through, and the topic was prominent at the Republican debate tonight in South Carolina. It was the first question moderator John Dickerson asked the candidates, and Donald Trump even brought up an Alabama judge as a possible appointee.
I hope that our Senate is going to be able, Mitch and the entire group is going to be able to do something about it in times of delay. We could have a Diane Sykes, or you could have a Bill Pryor. We have some fantastic people, but this is a tremendous blow to conservatism. It's a tremendous blow, frankly, to our country.
I really wish the president would think about not nominating somebody. If he were to nominate somebody, let's have him pick somebody that is going to have unanimous approval and such widespread approval across the country that this could happen without a lot of recrimination.
We need to start thinking about the divisiveness that is going on in our country. I looked at some of the remarks that people made after finding out that Justice Scalia had died, and they were truly nasty remarks. And that we have managed to get to that position in our country is truly a shame.
I do not believe the president should appoint someone, and it's not unprecedented. In fact, it's been over 80 years since a lame duck president has appointed a Supreme Court justice. And it reminds us of this, how important this election is.
The simple fact is the next president needs to appoint someone with a proven conservative record, similar to Justice Scalia, that is a lover of liberty, that believes in limited government, that consistently applied that kind of philosophy, that didn't try to legislate from the bench, that was respectful of the Constitution, and then fight for that nomination to make sure that that nomination passes.
He was somebody that I knew for 20 years. He was a brilliant man. He was faithful to the Constitution. He changed the arc of American legal history. And I'll tell you, his passing tonight, our prayers are with his family, with his wife Maureen, who he adored, his 9 children, his 36 grandkids, but it underscores the stakes of this election.
As you can see, Scalia's death dominated the conversation at the debate, but local conservative legislators also entered the conversation. Long-standing Alabama Senator Richard Shelby issued this statement: "It is vital to our nation's future that we confirm a justice who will continue his legacy. I will adamantly oppose any attempt by President Obama to fill this vacancy during the remainder of his term." And U.S. Congressman Bradley Byrne went a different way in his statement, saying the speculation and discussion about political ramifications can wait as we mourn a man who was a true defender of the Constitution. Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions praised Scalia's commitment to the Constitution, but didn't comment on his successor. Sessions did say it is our responsibility to the American people and our constitutional heritage to ensure that Justice Scalia's legacy on the court is carried on. Strong reaction all around for the future of the Supreme Court, but we wanted to look back at Scalia's life and his impact of the highest court in the land. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia made his mark during his 3 decades on the Supreme Court. He asked more questions and made more comments than any other justice, and was known for his outsized personality and brilliant legal mind. According to the U.S. Marshal Service, he was found dead this morning when he didn't show up for breakfast at a resort in West Texas. Ronald Reagan chose Scalia for the High Court in 1986, and he was its longest-serving member of the current court.
Always sticking to his guns, willing to write separate dissents. arguing that the law actually should be turning in a conservative direction.
He was born to Italian immigrants in Trenton, New Jersey. His family later moved to Queens, and college took him to Georgetown University and Harvard Law School. One of the staunchest conservative members of the court, he was a strong advocate for gun rights, privacy, and he consistently voted to let states outlaw abortion. In 2012, he talked to Charlie Rose about one of the court's most famous decisions that led to President George W. Bush taking the White House instead of Al Gore.
You have no regret about that, do you?
About that case?
Yeah.
Oh, it was an easy case. It really was.
Chief Justice John Roberts called Scalia an extraordinary individual and jurist, admired and treasured by his colleagues.
His absence on this court cannot be overstated because it will change potentially the balance of the Supreme Court.